Hey everybody, News Now Wyoming here. I know normally I talk about fun cases against like Kyle Rittenhouse or make fun of Binger, or I talk about federal lawsuits against um, government itself, right? We cover a lot of that qualified immunity. However, I read this article and it really piqued my interest, and I gotta say, this guy, I don't know the proper, if found guilty, I don't know the proper sentence. Castration should be in there as a proper sentence if he is found guilty. I really wish we allowed castration as a punishment here in the U.S. For some reason, we do not. But here we go, you guys. And this is all alleged. He has not been found guilty in a court of law. He is innocent until proven guilty. Everything I'm about to say after this is based off of this indictment only. Again, he is innocent until proven guilty. If what is alleged in this indictment is true, castration is not good enough for him, in my opinion. Alright, so here we go. United States of America versus John Griffin. Now, who's John Griffin? He is a producer for CNN. Yes, the same people who produce Cuomo or and anybody else. I mean, they've got, one guy who got caught beating off on Zoom during a Zoom meet, and he still has a job. Kumo, of course, no longer has a job as of a couple weeks ago. They've got all kinds of sick bastards on CNN. But whatever. I guess you are allowed to hire whoever you wish. Alright, so background. And this is brought in Vermont, you guys. United States versus John Griffin as the defendant. The grand jury charges at all times relevant to this indictment. For years prior to July 2020, the defendant John Griffin paid for and maintained a profile on an internet site known as alt.com. In 2020, alt.com describes itself as a BDSM dating, fetish, and kink site where members find alternative BDSM bondage and fetish partners. Oh, you know what? I need to put in a disclaimer up front here. What you are about to read is horrendous. What I'm about to read to you is horrendous. It does involve child sex crimes, sex involving minors. If that offends you, do not watch any further. I urge you to go turn on Pocahontas and watch that. If this case excites you in a way where you need to go meet with a CNN reporter on Zoom, then please just leave my channel now. What I am about to read to you is disturbing on every level. Do not stay if you find this exciting. Do not stay if it will offend you. I will not be offended if you leave this channel right now. Turn it off and go watch Powerpuff Girls or something, okay? Go watch something else. This may not be for you. This is a person of interest. He is a public figure, and these crimes are such that I do feel it is worthy of me making a video to read this to you. When I first read these charges, I searched for my gun. I went and dove into the lake to find one of my guns. No, seriously, you guys, this is horrendous. And if you will not, if you can't hear about this, then please do find somewhere safe for you, okay? I know I say that jokingly before, but this video may not be for you. This is certainly not appropriate for children to hear. John Griffin used alt.com to seek women who were, in Griffin's words, sexually submissive and open-minded. If you're talking about adults, that's great, all right? His username or handle on alt.com was admitted. On several occasions in 2019 and 2020, John Griffin communicated with persons he encountered on alt.com using other communication platforms, including Kik and Google Hangouts. John Griffin's username or handle on Kik was Reflection55, and on Google Hangouts it was John Griffin. On several occasions in 2020, during chat conversations over Kik and Google Hangouts, John Griffin stated he believed there is a wanton whore at the core of any female, and that a woman is a woman regardless of her age. Believe that there's a wanton whore at the core of any female, and that a woman is a woman regardless of her age. I'm a parent of 2 daughters. My God, this is scary, all right? During these chat conversations, John Griffin espoused a way of life in which women are sexually subservient and inferior to men. Using Kik and Google Hangouts, John Griffin sought parents who would allow him to train their minor daughters to be sexually subservient. On or about February 21st, 2020, John Griffin, acting through a Vermont limited liability company, acquired a ski house located at 126 Grouse Lane in Ludlow, Vermont. And yes, you guys, I did read that address out. It is a matter of public record. It is not doxing anybody. John Griffin communicated in furtherance of the crimes alleged herein while in or near the ski house and offered to host mothers and their minor daughters at this location for purposes of sexual training. Count 1, paragraphs 1 through 4 are realleged and incorporated herein. From on or about April 7, 2020 to on or about April 13, 2020 in the District of Vermont and elsewhere, the defendant John Griffin used the facility of interstate commerce, knowingly attempted to persuade, induce, entice, and coerce an individual who had not attained the age of 18 years to engage in sexual activity for which any person could be charged with a criminal offense. In the course of this attempt, John Griffin exchanged in text conversations over Google Hangouts with the person 1, who purported to be the father of a 14-year-old daughter. During the conversation, John Griffin advised person 1 that John Griffin had sexually trained girls as young as 7 years old. Okay, he had sexually trained girls as young as 7 years old. It is advised that person 1's 14-year-old daughter would be a good candidate for such training alongside her mother. Proposed that training would begin via a video chat during which John Griffin planned to instruct the 14-year-old and her mother to remove their clothing and touch each other, and confirmed that John Griffin's sexual training would eventually include in-person meetings featuring spanking and cock worship. I am not going to read that again. I'm going to leave that on the screen for you to read over again. Paragraphs 1 through 4 are realleged and incorporated herein. On about June 12, 2020 and June 13, 2020 in the District of Vermont and elsewhere, the defendant John Griffin, using a facility of interstate commerce, knowingly attempted to persuade, induce, entice, and coerce an individual who had not attained the age of 18 to engage in sexual activity for which any person could be charged with a criminal offense. In the course of this attempt, John Griffin engaged in a text conversation over Google Hangouts with the person 2, who purported to be the mother of a 16-year-old daughter. I am the father of a 16-year-old daughter. This is horrendous. And this mother should be shot. That father before should be shot. You do not put your children out there like this. What he has done is horrendous. What they did, I would argue to you, is even worse. Unless they end up being undercover people and not really parents with 14 and 16-year-old. Sought confirmation that person 2 believed there is a natural wanton horror at the core of any female, whether she knows it or not, and a woman is a woman regardless of age. Proposed to person 2 that she and her 16-year-old daughter take a little mother-daughter trip to Vermont, where John Griffin would host them at his Ludlow, Vermont ski house for sexual training. Count 3, paragraphs 1 through 4 are re-alleged and incorporated herein. From on or about June 14th to on or about July 24th, 2020, in the District of Vermont and elsewhere, so this is a little over a month, the defendant, John Griffin, using a facility of interstate commerce, knowingly persuaded, same paragraph we've already read, in furtherance of this offense, beginning on or about June 14, 2020, he engaged in text conversation over Kik with person 3, who purported to be the mother of 2 daughters, then 9 and 13 years of age. 9 and 13. I don't know if that can be stressed enough. 9 years old. His statements included, one of the big lies of this society is that women are delicate, innocent angels, and they are in actuality naturally the dirtiest sluts possible in every metric. When handled appropriately, a woman is a woman regardless of her age, and it's your job, in concert with me, to see that person 3's 13-year-old daughter is trained properly. Following this conversation over Kik, as well as other text messages and telephone communications with person 3, and again, this is a mother who should be dragged out in the street and publicly shot, John Griffin used the internet payment service Venmo to transfer to person 3 approximately $2,000 on or about June 24th and approximately $1,315 on or about July 13th to cover expenses for person 3 and her 9-year-old daughter to fly from Nevada to Boston. She was bringing her 9-year-old daughter to him for training. And he paid $3,000 for it. He drove his red Tesla Model X from Ludlow, Vermont to Logan Airport to pick up person 3 and her 9-year-old daughter and to bring them to John Griffin's ski house, where the child was directed to engage in and did engage in illegal sexual activity. A 9-year-old at her mother's direction, and this guy, the CNN producer, engaged in sexual acts at 9 years old. What punishment is good enough for him? Forfeiture notice. Pursuant to Criminal Procedure 32.2, United States hereby notifies the defendant that it will seek forfeiture of property criminally and or civilly pursuant to Title 18. And you guys, I am against civil asset forfeiture. I am not against it being done after a conviction. I am strongly opposed to it being done before that conviction, though. So, I do, yeah. So, if convicted of any offense, if convicted of any offense set forth in this indictment, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States any property, real or personal, used or intended to be used to commit or to promote commission of such offenses of which the defendant is convicted, or any property traceable to such property, including residences, vehicles, computers, storage media, cameras, and electronic equipment, including electronic equipment taken from his person or residence by law enforcement officers during the investigation of these offenses. It also includes any property, real or personal, constituting or traceable to gross profits of other proceeds derived from said offenses. The property subject includes a lot of land with all buildings thereon, located in the town of Ludlow, County, Windsor, State of Vermont, the legal description of which is found at volume 29, blah, blah, blah. His ownership interest in Griff Skis, a limited liability corporation which owns the real property described in Section I. 1. A red Tesla Model X. A 2018 Mercedes-Benz. The computer storage media devices, cameras, blah blah blah, seized from the defendant on or about September 2nd, 2020. The United States shall be entitled to forfeiture if, as a result or omission, cannot be located upon. Anyway. And this is signed by the United States Attorney. My God. I don't even know how, what. There's just, are the parents being charged? That is my real question here. Because, oh my God. Let's see here if we can actually find. They don't actually give the 18 USC. Okay, so let's pause this video and let's go to the law itself. Alright, so here we are in the federal guidelines for sexual offense with minors. Very long 63-page document under 18 USC 2422. Again, we are looking at number or letter B, so 2422B. Prohibits using the mail or any facility or means of interstate commerce to knowingly persuade, induce, entice, or coerce any individual younger than 18 years old to engage in prostitution or any illegal sexual activity. A 9-year-old. A 9-year-old, you guys. So it includes an attempt and so it also includes the attempt and has a statutory minimum penalty of 10 years old and a maximum penalty of life in prison. Now I'm actually curious on that final count. Let's go back to the final count. And for count 3, this is not for attempt, right? Knowingly so this one, the others, he is being charged with attempting to do it. This third count is the only one that they are charging that he did it. A 9-year-old. 9. Now, it doesn't say what she did, and really it doesn't matter. Training a 9-year-old how to please a man sexually. I don't know if you guys... I can't say stuff to do that justice of just how horrendous that is. So, just one case, one time, minimum of 10 years and a maximum penalty of life in prison. You guys, I think castration, if found guilty, should be a part of this punishment. 9 years old. 9. Ignore what he said. Ignore the things that he said to the others. She was 9. And she traveled across the nation to get there. Yeah, so let's go ahead and pause. Let's pull up the other screen. Alright, so things that we need to know. Fast facts that you need to know. He's a senior producer who was arrested on federal charges accusing him of attempting to induce minors to engage in unlawful sexual activity at his home. He was indicted by a federal grand jury on December 10th, 2021 and taken into custody that same day. He has been suspended by CNN after the news network learned of the charges against him. He was charged with 3 counts of using a facility of interstate to attempt to entice. No, that's incorrect. We just read 2 charges of attempting and 1 charge of doing so. According to the indictment, we just read it. So, Prosecutors added in the release. In June of 2020, he advised a mother of 9 and 13-year-old daughter. The mother's responsibility was to see to her older daughters was trained properly. So from Nevada to Boston, right? The indictment also includes specific allegation that he attempted to entice 2 other children over the internet. He proposed to engage in a virtual... We already read that. So what are the 5 facts? Okay. He was active on a fetish site seeking submissive and open-minded women. Said during a chat session, one of the big lies of this society is that women are delicate, innocent angels. They are in actuality naturally the dirtiest sluts possible in every metric. Okay? We already read that part of the indictment. That's part of the indictment. So he bought the house listed, $1.8 million house listed in court documents with his wife in 2020 using an LLC and has 3 children. I hope the cops are talking to his children now. How well did he train his children? Sorry, you guys. I did not mean that to be remotely funny. And I hope it isn't taken that way. And I hope nothing happened to his children while they were growing up. So the business is registered to their $4.3 million home. He has worked as a senior producer at CNN since 2013, including Shoulder to Shoulder with recently fired anchor Chris Cuomo, he says on LinkedIn. Okay, so, close favorite to a CNN favorite. Griffin, who previously worked at ABC News, Fox News, and CBS News, graduated from Princeton University in 1999. Okay. Griffin, who made his first court appearance on December 10th, faces 10 years of life in prison if convicted, and federal prosecutors say they intend to seek to seize his house in Vermont, his Tesla, his Mercedes, and other property, and we saw that in the indictment. There are other parts of that indictment I didn't really cover, or other filings. Again, all boring legalese about the criminal possession of the property, not really of interest. But there we go, you guys. What is the punishment? What do you think this guy, John Griffin, should do, have happen to him? What charges, or what are the criminal punishments? What's good enough for him? Because really, I don't think anything is good enough for him. But I'll take something. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have a great night. Thanks a lot.